how does one really build habits? What is a habit? Every now and then you find out that we have different habits. Some of them are good habits, some of them are bad habits. But today on Broken Not Shattered, we're going to discuss how to build life habits that help us with our personal growth. But I'm not alone today. I have a team. One of the guys is military, guys. So we know we're excited to discuss today's topic at its full capacity. For those of us who are just joining, welcome to Broken Not Shattered. This is your host, Ike O, and no one else in the house with me than my co-host, OBG. What's up, Obi? Good. Man, welcome to Broken Not Shattered. Listen, guys, if you're just joining Obi and I, remember our time has changed. We've moved it from 4 p.m. now 3 p.m. Eastern Standard Time in America, which ends up being around 9 o'clock in Nigeria, correct? Yeah, 9 o'clock in Nigeria where Obi is, and then for my guests and audience in the UK and other parts of Europe, that should be around 8 o'clock your time for now. We're trying to manage our time well so we can actually get in a great show. Obi, man, habits. I have some terrible habits that I've built over the years. Do you know that at some point in my life, and my siblings, if they're watching, they'll always laugh about this one, that I used to suck my finger. I used to suck my finger. I used to suck my finger to almost when I was secondary school, I think 3rd year or 4th year. And it was a habit. And then when I stopped sucking my finger, because my friends were always dealing with me, trying to cut my finger, trying to put a blade on my finger when I'm sleeping, so that I can stop putting my finger in my mouth. I replaced it with nuts. So I started eating a lot of nuts. And anybody that knows me knows that sometime in my life, I used to enjoy a lot of nuts. I still do, but it's not healthy for me anymore. So I've now cut down that bad habit of eating a lot of nuts. I've also been able to cut down the bad habits. Habits, most of the times, are things we do on a regular basis. We practice them, and they're now very hard to break. You know, I have friends of mine a lot of friends who used to smoke back in the days, and now they've been able to break it and they've stopped smoking. You know, but other guys can't. You know, different habits. People have different habits. Like people that gossip. Oh my God, people that like to gossip. Obi, what's your bad habits and your good habits?
So I have plenty habits anyway. But before I get into it,
you need to be. I can't hear you. You're gonna be a little louder. Sorry.
So before I get into it,
Yeah.
when you talked about habits, something came to my mind,
Okay.
and that is life is all about habits.
Okay.
The beauty of life is habits. What we do every day of our life is habits.
That's correct.
You get so the idea of waking up, doing one or two, and going to work, whichever way you do, you discover that there are some certain set of things you do on a daily basis, you know, to make ends meet. And they are just habits. But we tend to pay attention to maybe some of those ones that are more obvious, either on the negative or on the positive. And some that we pay attention to. Yeah, I guess that is it. And I think that was why I used to see you two a lot then. I never knew. Thank you for opening up.
Yeah, that's what it was, bro. That's what it was. But we're gonna bring in our guest today. Chudo is a military officer, so he is part of the Air Forces. Hey, welcome to Broken Not Shattered, Mr. Chudo. How you doing?
Very good. I'm glad to be here.
Thank you.
Yes, I can.
Broken Not Shattered. Chudo, you are a military officer. I think Air Force, right? Yeah, Air Force officer, and you are also a registered dietitian and nutritionist. So you have a lot to share with us. Chudo, we're talking about habits that can help us build our personal growth. What would you say is one of the habits as our guests? We'll let you take first take.
Okay. I think that habits actually, by definition, means, consistent behavioral patterns that identifies and defines a person. You see, when I begin to do something consistently, and because of that thing I am doing, I can be identified, I can be singled out and that particular thing I am doing can define my person. I can call that a habit.
So it's a way. It's like a way of life.
You come across a lot. Yes, like a pattern, a way of life, like a consistent. It has to be a habit. It has to be consistent. It has to be consistent. It's not a one-time stuff. You don't call one-time stuff a habit.
Right. Okay. So as a military man and a nutrition, what would you say? Give us one or two habits that you know that can actually help with personal growth.
Okay, as a military man, one of the first things we do is we wake up on time. One of the first things we do, when you wake up on time, you are able to plan your day, so nothing takes you really, by surprise. So for the military people, for the military personnel, one of the first things you find in their life as a consistent pattern of life is that they wake up on time. Every soldier has that imbibed.
Why do they wake up on time? Why is it important to wake up on time?
It's more like a training pattern that helps you stay in charge of your day. It's something we're indoctrinated with, that if you don't want to have a lot of things that you cannot handle in the day, you wake up on time and plan for your day. You don't get the day meeting you on the bed. So that's for many military personnel, especially those who have military bearing, that's one core thing you must know about them. Wake up on time, and then they plan, they plan their day. It's also applicable to students. It's also applicable to, if you want to find a student who will definitely do well in his academics or whatever he's studying, you find that he has to wake up on time and plan his day. Right? So that's a positive habit, I think.
So that's like let's say that's time management. That would be time management. If you wake up on time,
yes, that's time management. Yes, that's time management. Although not completely, time management still entails a lot of other things.
Okay, can you share with us some of the things that time management involve?
Okay, when you talk about time management, you are looking at having, setting out specific time to achieve specific tasks. You have a bulk of things you want to do, you've planned yourself, and you attach those things to certain times you want them to be done. And you discipline yourself to stay by that time. That refers to time management. You try as much as possible to cut your schedules into time and discipline yourself to know that, okay, this is what I'm supposed to do by 8 a.m. This is where I'm supposed to be by 12 p.m. This is what I'm supposed to do by 4 p.m. That time now, you're talking about time management. You are looking at how you are able to curtail your excesses into the scheduled time for every of your activity in the day. Right.
Wow. Thank you. Wow. See, that's why I'm not in the military, because I go to bed late because I'm a night person. I produce more work when I'm at night, and then I struggle to wake up in the morning. That's just my own pattern. So I guess that's why I couldn't last long in the military. Well done, Trudeau. Obi, how about you? Obi, what's yours, man?
Okay, I think I have few number of them, but the first I would want to share is embracing challenges.
Okay.
I think that's a major habit for me, and I'm going to talk from a personal standpoint.
Correct. Yes.
It has to be um, it has to be a conscious thing for me. I will go as far back as, you know something so minute, but it was one of the beginning point for me was when I saw my peers driving, right? And I could see old women driving. And I was between the age of 16, 17. And I said to myself, this is a challenge for me. If an old woman in her 60s could drive, then as a young guy, I can do better.
Right.
And then I accepted that. Now, it was how I got into trying to learn how to drive, and I was able to get to that. And that challenge has always been there. There was a time in school when I faced, I've shared my story several times of how I faced failure and how I continued. It was more like a challenge for me, but I accepted it. I came from an agricultural background and I
Okay.
wanted to move into IT. And it was a challenge. I was never exposed to anything, digital. But I took that challenge. In fact, where I did my first academy, where I did my hands-on was in programming. I had to try Java and Python, which was something quite different. But I kept looking at them. I said, if anybody can, I have the capacity to do the same as well. It is all about developing those features because they are there. And once you
Right.
begin to breathe on them, you see you begin to give them life. And before you know it, you're waxing strong in it. Today, what pays me is digital, not even agriculture, which I
Wow.
studied for years in the campus.
Wow.
And I'm doing it well in the tech than agriculture.
That's
I
correct.
enrolled for another trial again of late challenges. And what my mind told me was, Obi, you're about 40 plus. Can you still do what you used to do during your undergraduate days? And I said, no, I can. And I took up that challenge. In fact, the pass mark was supposed to be 70 and I had about 84. So I
Wow.
love that those challenges. There has been a couple of them and I like to embrace them. I like to see myself fail or fail. I tell myself the worst that can happen is you fail. And you if you fail is a very good point to learn from. You're
Wow.
learning from experience.
I like what you're saying, Obi. Wow. So what I figured out as you were talking, I heard you say something about embracing challenges.
Yes.
I also heard you talk about continuous learning, right? And I
Mm-hmm.
know that that's
Yeah.
one of the things that you're very good at continuous learning. You like to learn a lot, right? And so
Yeah.
because of that, you're always giving yourself those challenges. And I think it's good. I think one of the habits that anyone should actually have, I agree, is continuous learning. And in that continuous learning, you are embracing different challenges. Those challenges can also help you build in your day-to-day life. So gradually,
Yeah.
the personal growth of the individual begins to enhance. I have a friend of mine. She's very good at that. She's always learning. She's moved from the banking and moved into psychotherapy and all that great stuff. And now
Mm.
she's about to jump into real estate, right? And this is just basically how this person is wired. They're always trying to learn something area, learn something new, and move into a new area. And you can see that it definitely helps with their own personal growth. Oh, gentlemen, this is very insightful for me. One of the things I know that helps, uh, a habit that I have acquired in the recent past. It's a new habit for me. Is self-reflection. I'm
Mm.
always reflecting of myself. I think self-reflection is a very, very strong habit for any individual to have, where you pause every now and then, detach yourself from the noise of the world, unplug from your gizmo, drop your phone, switch off the TV, and just go into a quiet place and reflect. Because life
Mm.
itself is very short. I don't care how long you think you're here on Earth. If you're here on Earth for 100 years or 100 years plus, it's still very short compared to how long life is, right?
Sure.
So you need time to reflect and help yourself readjust and decide what next steps you want to do. I also think that one of the things that can help us in personal growth is the quality of relationships we build. The
Mm.
quality of relationships we build, not just building relationships per se, but what's the quality of the relationship you build? Shudo, if you build a strong relationship with an individual in the military setting, you will find out that it will help you learn more outside of your normal training. Same goes for you, Obi. I have mentors in my life, and I always have access. I don't bother them, but I have access to them, and I learn from them their mistakes and the things they've done very well, right? So I'm always learning from those relationships. In your space, if you have people that are strong with positive energy that can actually help you grow, you want to stay with them, right? Your mentor can be male, female, young, old, it doesn't matter. It's a relationship. But when you have relationships that are toxic, you want to pull away from them because those relationships will not help you with your personal growth. So I think building relationships is one of them. So what else? What else do we have out there? Chudo, what do you think?
Yes, when we're talking about habits that promote health, there is another angle of it that most times we tend to neglect, and very very simple: food habits. You see, I've met a couple of persons who have very productive lifestyles, but deteriorating health in terms of literal medical conditions. So you find that because they are sick, because they're having one degenerative disease or the other areas of their lives are completely affected.
Wow.
See? So it's an important area of one's life to take critical consideration to how the kinds of foods you consistently eat every day. We're talking about behaviors that you do every time, because at the long run they will inform your overall health status. Now, this coming from the medical point of view. At the long run, they will inform your as a military person. I made some decisions personally. I told myself that I was not going to smoke. I was not going to take alcohol. I told myself that there are certain things I was not going to eat, not because I can't do them, but because I have a health goal that I don't want to compromise. And I know that if I compromise those goals, it will affect my military efficiency. Do you understand? So these are some of, and it's something that cuts across. I think I've handled a patient very prominent patient well known, and then this patient he's doing well in his business, doing very, very well. As a matter of fact, he stayed in an executive, room in our hospital. But he had a health challenge that was traceable to food patterns. And this health challenge, I don't know how I'm going to put it, but he eventually crippled this man. This is somebody who was doing well in his profession, he was doing well in his business, but in the things he was eating, he couldn't rule his appetite over what he was eating. So you see, when we are talking about habits that will, ensure healthiness, I want to solicit that we also look at food habits, nutrition habits, healthy medical habits. Most times people don't even have a routine of going to check out their health in the hospital. You find that you are only visiting the hospital when you've been diagnosed with a sickness. And it's supposed to actually be a habit. You're supposed to, yes, you're actually supposed to make it a habit to visit the hospital and check yourself. You're actually supposed to make it a habit to set goals, healthy goals, not just business goals, not just spiritual goals, set health goals. We see a lot of them on social media. We see people who are advocating, no sugar months, no this, they set a lot of healthy goals and encourage people to play alongside with them. Set healthy goals, healthy food goals, healthy nutrition goals, healthy medical goals that will ensure that your health is not compromised at the long run. Because when your health becomes compromised, every other thing you're doing will, have an impact. Yes, we have a negative impact. So that's an aspect of the habit. we need to
So
also put into
so
consideration.
thank you so much, Chudo. I like that because you see, in the eating, they said we are what we eat, right? You're what you eat.
Yes.
So let's just say this
Yes.
client of yours, if they had another underlying disease, it will get worse, obviously, because of what they eat, right? And you see a lot of people who we think they're wealthy and strong, but they're all keyed up to one medication or the other because of their lifestyle. Meanwhile, the guy who is back in the village, who's a farmer, who has a more energetic lifestyle, eats organic food, doesn't touch a lot of sugar, cuts down on his carb intake, but is also exercising on a regular basis. When he goes to work to go and see his friend, he walks there and walks there. The wealthy guy is always in the car driving from point A to point B and never gets time to actually do the exercise. I have a new habit that I'm beginning to build, and it's when you sit down. It's a rule that you're not supposed to sit for too long. I think if you sit for 20 minutes, 30 minutes, you're supposed to get up and move for 5 minutes or something like that.
Stretch yourself, yeah.
What is it called, sir?
I said you're supposed to get up and stretch yourself. Yes, you're correct.
Okay. So for those of you who I know you're watching me because I know that you're always sitting down working. Those people, they're watching me right now. I'm telling you, make sure every 20 minutes or at least every 30 minutes you get up and move that body around, male or female. You have to go for those walks. You stretch yourself because sitting is another problem why a lot of us have a lot of back issues. We're always sitting, positioning when some of us work from their bed. They'll sit on their bed and they're working and they're not sitting well. So you must make it a habit, guys, to get up and move. I'm wearing where's my camera? Okay, there you go. Oh, no, sorry. I thought I was wearing my sports watch. This is a different kind of watch. My sport watch always reminds me to get up and move. So if you have one of those watches that can let you know that, hey, get up, listen to it, just make that body change and move. Gentlemen, this has been exciting. We've talked about continuous learning, one of the habits that you have, self-reflection. The officer and the gentleman in our midst has told us about setting goals, healthy habits that we must do. Obi talked about embracing challenge. I mentioned about building relationships. Now, there are one or two more things that we're going to discuss when we come back on Broken Not Shattered. Let's just take a quick break and we'll see you soon. Welcome to Broken Not Shattered. My guest today is Chudo. Chudo is a military officer, an Air Force military officer, and a registered dietitian. You guys know Obi in the house. We've been talking about how to build life habits that would help us with our personal growth. Obi, as we wind down the show, can you tell our audience some other things that you think habits that they should have?
Yes. So, amongst the other habits we've mentioned earlier, one of them that I have in my mind as well that means a lot to me is practicing gratitude.
Practicing what?
Gratitude.
Oh, gratitude. Okay, yes, okay.
Gratitude. And before I get into it, you made mention of continuous learning. Yeah. And I want to elaborate on it. It is always good. You see, from this, to give you how conscious I am, when officer mentioned things in the area of food, it began to put my interest. I want to see him speak more on, can you give generally what people can even eat, to stay healthy, like the common man, because most time people feel staying healthy is making sure you have your breakfast, your lunch, and your dinner on time. When should one eat? Things like that to tell you how it's driving me to learn more.
Right.
So I am, as a person, given to learning more. All my life I've been trying what I don't know. So what I hate to hear is you can't do it. I want to hear, oh, you're not learning it. I'm going to give you some time. So I'm trying it. I don't want to tell myself I cannot. I'm always open to learning. For instance, when I first came into Lagos and I had nothing, after attending the academy, something happened and the company could not keep to their promises, so we left. I've always had that passion to drive. I drive well. So I started thinking of what do I do next? And somebody told me about Uber driving.
Uber. Okay.
Yes. And I quickly went to take the test. I didn't know how it worked. I never used Google to drive because in my area I knew those areas well. But it was my first time in Lagos. I didn't know how to do that. But I had to pick up the Uber, the map, and I did it. And it worked. So I am always constantly open to learning. And even till late, I just told you of what I enrolled, lately
Right.
to do.
Right.
I am open to learning. And then when we go into gratitude, now, in as much as we practice others, why I say for me this is conscious is you can stay healthy and not live happy. You can have wealth and still not be fulfilled.
Yeah.
But gratitude is one of those things that enhances longevity.
Hmm.
With your gratitude for the little you have, you see that your happiness wouldn't be as a result of what you get or what you have around you.
Right.
You discover that sometimes it is an unconscious thing.
Right.
You're always in a happy mood because you practice this gratitude of a thing.
Right. Right.
You're
Right.
grateful for life. You're grateful for the fact that you could wake up and sleep. You're grateful for the little friends you have around you. You're grateful that one could even visit you. And even when you give, you're grateful that there's even someone to receive. It creates a level of positivity around you. And that positivity helps to, prosper other things that you do because you're putting so much positive energy in them and you have positive energy coming in and out of you.
Wow. Obi, you couldn't have said that better, man. When you were talking, again, I told you everything about me now is a lot of self reflection, just
Yeah.
managing things better and how I process life. I just remembered um, how last weekend there was a plane crash that took place out here, a helicopter crash that took place out here in um, in the US. And one of the casualties of that particular plane crash happens to be a family friend to uh, some parts of my family. And um, it was almost like the whole family just wiped out in 1 second. Great accomplished gentleman. A lot of people are talking about his story and how kind he is as a person. Um, Even the other person that was on the plane, on the helicopter that also passed away, is connected to my spiritual father, and I know that there's been a big loss in out there in Nigeria because of how these two pillars um, just came to the end. But it's life, nobody knows what time and when our time is up, and so we have to make the best out of it. And gratitude, or just thanking God that we're here and what He has given us to do, it's very, very important. I can't, you can't express that more enough. It's the worst person you can ever meet. Actually, there are two things that I know that, or three. I'm going to talk about two that people can have that are just so nasty. One is ingratitude. If you meet somebody who is very ungrateful, there's nothing you can do for that person. They will always find a fault in it. The one you can give your whole life, the person is just an ungrateful being. And the other one is jealousy and envy. I think that anyone who is jealous on a regular basis becomes ugly. I don't know why. Once I meet
Sure.
someone, they're very jealous, right? Either they're jealous and delusional. Trudeau, you're laughing, but just that beauty just goes away. They start looking ugly because it's a spiritual thing. Jealousy will make you look ugly, ugly.
Hmm.
And I'm telling you,
Hmm.
it's not. You can put all the makeup in the world. You can cut your biabia as long as you want. You can do any hairstyle. If you have jealousy built in you, you will start
Hmm.
to look ugly. So
Okay.
because it's a very negative and dangerous spirit. And then ingratitude. If you're a very ungrateful person, you are going to smell like awful. Nobody wants to come around you. So if that's a habit, you want to kill it. You want to kill it. Find the root of it and kill it, right? Nobody owes nobody anything. Anything we get from anyone is full of gratitude. And you know, Ndi Igbo say, "Ekele gị na ka i mere, ime ọzọ." If I thank you for the one that you've done, you will do another one, right? And I think that's even our God Himself. The story of Jesus Christ and those that He healed, all 10 of them, 9 took off, went about doing their own thing, dancing Zumba, Abigida, and doing their own, their own dance move. Only one guy came back and said, Jesus, thank you for what you've done for me. I truly appreciate it. He said, I healed 10 of you. Where there are 9? Question. He said, I don't know. Answer. Response. For you, I will not just only heal your physical being, I will heal you. Go. Your sins are, you've been set free. And He frees him from everything else, which is financially, spiritually, emotionally, everything that he had, his physical health. He now got it all back in that extra blessing he got because of gratitude. And I suggest to everyone, and I put to those who are listening to me right now, that once you have the right attitude of gratitude, you will always see people being a blessing around you. It doesn't have to be financial blessings. It could just give you a tip on how to make well with your business. They will bring ideas. I had a friend of mine who recommended a client of mine recently. I worked with that client, and I was so grateful that that client took one of my staff to work with them. Do you know that that staff that I was so kind to gave me a tip that the company that I had connected them with are looking for something else? I went back and I spoke to the CEO. I said, "Oh, I heard you're looking for this. If you need that service, we can provide it." Obi, we just closed the contract. We just closed the contract because of how I treated that girl, that young lady, with gratitude. She now is in the organization that gave me a tip to allow me to provide an extra service for my client. So now I'm providing 2 services for him, all to the glory of God. The attitude of gratitude. Envy and jealousy makes you look ugly. Gentlemen, we're running out of time. I don't want to waste up anybody's time. I want Trudeau to talk about what we should eat and what we should not eat. Officer, we're not flying planes here, so please come in. I love your smile, brother. I love your smile. And then we're going to end up with self-care, and we'll wrap the show. Tell us, what should we eat and what should we not eat? I mean, guide us a little bit. I know that exercise is fine. I can see you and Obi looking slim. I don't know whether Obi's on his hunger or is just exercise. But, you know, I told Obi that everybody has fat in their body. If me, I can get big like this, then there's hope for everybody. Obi just needs to change his right environment. Before you know it, his cheeks will just start coming out.
All I need is a visa.
It will come, don't worry. Go ahead, talk to us, man. What should we eat?
Okay, I am so excited to be in this program. But to be frank, I've learned a lot. And usually when I get to talk to people and they find that I'm a registered dietitian, the question is always, what do we eat and what do we not eat? You see, but I don't think that that's actually the problem. That's not really the problem. I think one of the problems with having a good nutrition life or having a good food habit is about discipline. It's about discipline. I have come to define discipline as doing what you should do when you should do it. The reason is that there is a lot of controversies around what people need to eat to be healthy. I mean, in Nigeria, where we come from, what foods do we have and how available are those foods? You see, so I try to teach people that if they actually tame their appetites properly, they would be able to have a good, even the foods that you don't want to eat. It's about your appetite. You find that there are a lot of foods out there that are calling for your attention, and they are not healthy. They are not healthy. Maybe through the method of preparation, through the procedures, the food, the storage, whatever. You just know they are not healthy, but your appetite is pulling you. Your appetite is pulling you. So you see, all of these things are in self-care. if a person wants to actually take proper care of himself, he has to begin with ruling his appetite. And that's one of the core disciplines in the military. You must be able to rule your appetite. Do what you should do, not necessarily what you want to do. Eat what you should eat, not necessarily what you want to eat. And I think if you do that, there are a lot of food information, you know. If we do that,
So what
I think
should
we'll
I
be fine.
eat?
We'll definitely.
All about what you should eat. What should I eat? You know, you said it's about what you should eat and not what you want.
Okay, let me just give you a bonus. Let me give you a bonus.
All right.
You see, as a professional, I've come to define food into 3 categories.
Okay.
I've come to define food into 3 categories. As a professional, I have a license and I should be able to say what I think is correct about food. I've come to define food into number 1, energy-giving foods. Number 2, body-building foods.
Hold on. Like what? Energy-giving food like what?
Energy-giving foods, carbohydrates, proteins, fats, or oils. They are energy-giving foods.
Okay.
Body-building foods, chiefly the proteins. And then protective foods. These are the vitamins and the minerals. Like now, for a person like Uncle Ike needs more of the protective foods than he needs the energy-giving foods. This is because he is advanced. So he is not going to be spending as much energy as a young man who is 17 years is going to be spending. So the young man who is 17 years needs more of the energy-giving foods and the body-building foods. So if Uncle Ike begins to eat more of the energy-giving foods than he should eat, the whole body system will revolt.
Right.
You see why I talked about eating what you should eat. You find that the foods that look so appealing are more of the energy-giving foods, the body-building foods. But the question is, what quantity should I eat of this food? It's not to say that he shouldn't eat of those foods, but what quantity? So you see, this whole thing is just a very simple thing. There is no complexity around it. Understanding that, okay, at this age, I am not spending too much energy, so I shouldn't be consuming too much energy. You see, he will you in proper check.
Awesome. Thank you, gentlemen. Anyway, I'm gonna. This has been very good. This is very good. Trudeau, quick one. So what you're saying in a nutshell, so you can wrap up well. Avoid. If you get to my age, 45 and upwards, cut down on bodybuilding food like a lot of meat and proteins, and energy-giving food, a lot of carbohydrates. Right. Stick more to vitamins. Stick more to vitamins and mineral giving foods like vegetables. Am I correct? Right. And then
beautiful.
And then when you're younger, between your 30s and 40s, 30s and 20s, you can now reverse the other way around and build habits. Gentlemen, thank you for joining us at Broken Not Shattered. It's been a joy and a pleasure. I look forward to seeing you, Trudeau. Thank you for making out time and sharing your wealth of experience. And we'll see you soon. Okay, Obi, man, this has been a great experience. I hope our audience have learned from it. Next week we'll be meeting everyone at the same time. Obi, are you still there, or have I lost you? All right, I guess we've lost Obi. Obi is frozen. All right. So on behalf of my team, thank you everyone for joining us at Broken Not Shattered. See you again same time next week in our own famous 3 words: love, peace, and obviously more grace. Take care.